channeling the February It's Love vibe with my Vivian. Vivian! Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my February Lolita sewing plans. So this is kind of something new that I wanted to try on my channel, which is basically just making videos at the beginning of each month, kind of touching on some of the sewing projects that I like to accomplish for that month. And this month, I'm focusing specifically on Lolita related DIYs, so that's what I'll be touching on in this video. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into some of the things that I like to make for this month. So the first thing on my list of DIYs or things to make is an adjustable hoop petticoat. The one that I'm planning on making is going to be like half petticoat, half hoop skirt. So it's gonna have two hoops in it, and it's gonna have on top of it an organza kind of overlay to kind of soften some of the lines that get created from the bones underneath. So basically when you wear it, you won't be able to tell that there are bones underneath. It'll just look like a very well-rounded, structured petticoat, which is exactly what I'm going for and what I want. So fun fact about me, pretty much since I started wearing Lolita fashion, I've never actually purchased a petticoat. I've always made my own, and I know that's something that maybe not a lot of people would want to tackle as like their first project, because petticoats can be very time consuming, but I feel like it's one of those things that once you make it, it's definitely a money saver. And also I feel like because no one ever sees it, it goes underneath your clothes. It doesn't even need to be perfect. So it's kind of like a perfect thing for you to make, along with bloomers. I think that's also a really easy, quick, beginner-friendly type DIY if you want to start getting into making your own Lolita clothes. But staying on the topic of petticoats, I've never actually had to buy my own. So when I started thinking about making this adjustable hoop skirt, I thought, well, yes, you can buy it, but I also have all of the materials at home to make it. So I figured that I would just make it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Ideally, I would like this to be a hoop skirt or a petticoat that I can use for anything. So it not only can be accommodating for A-line shaped dresses, but it can also do a cupcake shape, and not just, you know, a casual cut, but it could also do something fuller and bigger if I wanted to, I don't know, just be extra for some reason. That's essentially the plan, is to have a petticoat slash hoop skirt that I can wear that can accommodate all of the dresses that I currently own. So whether that be an A-line shape or a cupcake shape, this adjustable hoop slash petticoat will be able to accommodate and fit under them. So that's the first thing on my list. Second thing on my list is a pair of bloomers. So another fun fact about me as a Lolita, I have never actually owned a pair of bloomers. Never. It's not that I don't ever wear anything underneath my skirts, because I do, but I always just wear shorts because I've always lived in places that were really hot, and it just never made sense to me to essentially wear a pair of pants, because that's kind of what they are. They're just like a thin, like little frilly pair of pants underneath my skirts when it's like in the hundreds degree wise where I live. So I've just never bothered to buy a pair, but I realized that with this new adjustable hoop skirt that I'm going to be making, it is like essential that I have something under there, especially because, you know, with a petticoat, you kind of have coverage in the sense that all of the frills and everything are just taking up all the space. So it's just like your legs and then frills, right? But with this hoop skirt that pushes everything away, we kind of have full view. So need to cover that. So I'm going to be making a pair of bloomers. I'm going to be using one of the patterns from my Otome no Sewing books. I believe it's book 2, I want to say, that has the bloomers pattern in there, and that's the one that I'm going to be using as kind of like a guide in order to make my own. So that's the second thing on my list, is a pair of bloomers. Third thing on my list, and the thing that I'm probably the most excited about making this month, is my very first JSK. Yes, I'm doing it. I'm making my very own JSK. So this kind of started early on when I was buying pieces back in the summer of 2020. 2021. Oh my god, what is time? I don't know. But anyways, when I started repurchasing pieces again in the summer of 2021, I came across this dress by Angelic Pretty called the Lovely Tartan JSK, and I thought it was so cute. It was this red tartan JSK. It had beautiful red ribbon on the front, some like heart buttons down the center. It had this like cute ruffle detail going around the bottom, and I don't know, it was just a really cute, plain, like basic, you know, tartan JSK, and I thought, ooh, this is really cute. So there was only one seller on Lace Market that had it listed, and it was being sold for like $200 or something. And I was just looking at this plain, non-printed. There was no real like elaborate lace or anything on it. It was just a red tartan JSK with heart buttons. And I'm just looking at it as someone who can sew and thinking to myself, I could make this for less than $200. And so I went on a hunt on Etsy to find the kind of closest red tartan fabric I could to match this dress. I found some equally as cute heart buttons to go along with it, as well as some really cute heart lace, which is not the same as the lace that's used on the actual Angelic Pretty JSK. I believe that one is more of like a crochet kind of lace, whereas mine is like a cotton lace, but it has like very similar aspects to it. It's heart lace. It has the same kind of like zigzaggy edging that the Angelic Pretty dress has. And I think it gets like the same feel essentially. You know, I'm not going for like 100% accuracy, like trying to remake this dress exactly as it's shown, but just, you know, ballpark I think is achievable. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And I'm super excited to make this dress because one, I think it's going to be super easy to make, and then two, I feel like this is opening the door for all the future Lolita sewing projects that I want to do, which is basically just making my own like basic Lolita pieces. I just feel like I would much rather spend $200 on say a printed dress or a dress that has like very brand specific details that I like than I would like to spend $200 on a dress that's made of like super basic fabric that you could just find at like a fabric store or something. So yes, that's what I'm trying to do this year. Finally, the last thing on my list for Lolita related sewing projects that I would like to make this month is an Innocent World inspired apron. So I'm pretty sure the main reason why I want to make this project at all is because I keep checking the Innocent World website just to like see, you know, sales, updates, you know, just casually checking because I really like Innocent World. And every single time I go onto their website, I kept seeing this picture of this apron and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cute. This would look fantastic with some like classic Lolita looks. And the more I kept looking at it, the more I was like, I think I might have this kind of lace, or this doesn't look that complicated. Maybe I could try to make it. So I'm making it. I've decided I'm gonna try to make it. I kind of got some more pictures of it, and looking at it, it really doesn't look that complicated. I think I counted, there's maybe about 3 or 4 different types of lace on here, which I can easily find in my fabric stash. So I'm just gonna pull some lace that I already have on hand, as well as some ribbon that I have on hand. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm not buying any new things. It's literally just whatever I have on hand is what I'm using. So I'm not expecting this to turn out exactly like this picture, but it's gonna be close enough and it'll still give me the same feels, right? For way less than what I would pay for this apron. Not saying that it's not worth it, but also just like, if I have the stuff and I have the time, then kind of why not try to make it? Is kind of how I feel. Honestly, I think this is gonna be such a great piece to make because I can not only see me wearing it for like classic Lolita pieces, but I can also see this being something I could use for potential cottagecore pieces when I start getting more into like cottagecore type looks and things like that. So I'm really excited to make this because I don't actually own any Lolita specific aprons. I did make last year a cottagecore inspired apron that has some like embroidery on the front and like ruffly lace on the shoulder straps and stuff like that, but I think this one is probably gonna be my favorite. I don't know. I don't know. It just looks so cute and classic and I really love it and I'm really excited to make it. So yes, that is the last DIY that I plan on making this month. So as far as like sharing all of these projects and stuff with you, I'm still not sure how exactly I want to do this. I know for sure the JSK make is going to be its own video, but as far as like the bloomers, the apron, and the hoop skirt go, I'm not really sure how to do those because they're really simple, easy things to make, and I just feel like those videos would be like 5 minutes. They'd be like 5 minutes long because it's just not that like complicated, I don't think, but yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. Originally my plan was to do the hoop skirt and the bloomers together and have the apron kind of be its own thing and then make another video that was just for the JSK, but we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and listening to some of the things that I plan on making this month, and let me know, is there anything that you're interested in making this year? Any Lolita related DIYs or just any DIYs in general that you're looking forward to making this year? You should let me know because I'm interested. So I guess with that, I will see you in my next video. Bye! I don't know if I ever said this, but her name is Tammy. She's not mine. She's actually my roommate's, and I don't know how this really started. It just was awkward to sit by myself, so I included her. And then it was even more awkward because I'm fancy and then she wasn't, and she got kind of jealous. It was a whole thing, right? But I feel like we balance each other.